Welcome, Sarah Logue here on behalf of Remax and Team Logue. I'm joined with Sean here on Clubview. Gorgeous home. Big difference, like huge difference.
Like night and day, maybe a little bit, which is an interesting way of putting it, like night and day. We thought the house was big to begin with and there was a lot of light in it, but it feels so much more spacious and so much more light is getting into the house already now because of the colors and the space it's opened up, and light just bounces everywhere. So we feel like we are in this enormous space.
You are in an enormous space, and you did a lot of neat things like extending your island, extending your cabinetry, smooth ceilings, adding the crowns and some of the woodwork that do extend your sight line, really.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, one of the first things I'll touch on is we used to have a window behind you on this space here. We moved it from this space to this space, and it's seamless.
Right.
And it opens everything up even all the more. Instead of looking into a bunch of back bushes, we can now see clearly into the backyard. And when the light comes in, it just streams in so much better.
So when you started this reno, what was the end game? Why did you say, okay, let's do this, let's make a move and let's change up our lifestyle? Because it's a lot of chaos. It's a lot of money to put out for a renovation.
It is a lot of chaos when you're basically surviving for a month off of whatever you can get into the toaster or the little toaster oven, because everything's dust everywhere, and a little coffee maker. But we really wanted to put our stamp, what was already on a beautiful home, to make it even more personal for us. And the house itself, like I said, was gorgeous to begin with, but it was starting to look a little dated.
Right.
The color schemes were more browns, more natural woods. We wanted to really brighten it up with lighter colors, whites and really light grays and blues. My sister and I are both big fans of blues.
Yeah, the blues are beautiful.
So yeah, the first thing we wanted to do was come in and re-examine the kitchen itself.
I think the reno started when we first started talking about it. It was going to be just the kitchen, and then it massively expanded, which happens to a lot of people.
Yeah. It went from, we just want to do a kitchen reno to, well, let's just do the whole first floor. Right. But everything bled into another room naturally and organically. So it was something I think we had to follow through with, as opposed to compartmentalization of just one little space after another and one little space after another. And by doing that, we went from one little space to one big space that opened up into another big space, because we eliminated walls, made other our doorways bigger, and it all started right here.
It's good advice, though. So a lot of people will say, we're going to do our kitchen, and the next year we're going to do our dining room, and the next year we're going to do our bathroom. Who did you pull on to sort of say, okay, we want to do a new kitchen, but where's that going to take us? Because a lot of people will, I'll walk into their home and it's like, wow, their kitchen looks great, but you transition and the floor changes and the walls change, and it's not as nice a flow as everything you've accomplished here. So who were some of the advisors? I know you obviously called us.
We probably started with you and said, Sarah, like we want to do these changes to the house. We have our own ideas, but it's time to lean on the professionals, people who work in this environment. So we called you, and we were looking for recommendations as far as designers, people that we could sit down and talk with and bounce ideas back and forth and see what ideas they could bring into the project, because that's the environment they work in. They're the professionals, they know what they're doing. And then the actual people that would come in and do the work, the carpenters and the plumbers and electricians would say, oh, that all sounds great, but why don't you try this or try that? So it was a nice team effort with real pros.
You need it, because the reality is, so many people will say to me, we did this whole renovation, now sell my house, and I'll be like, oh, I really wish you hadn't chosen green granite, right? Or something along those lines. So you do have to pick it depending on, are you staying for yourself, are you staying for selling, and then look at the investment budget. But if you are going to do something at this level, I think you were very wise in trying different designers, different carpenters, different tradespeople to know what the best fits are. Too often people will cut into something and realize, oh, now I've got a mistake, and backtrack, and they've spent more money than if they had gone through someone professional. So it is nice. We have an incredible book of incredible people to work with.
I will attest to that, yes.
Yes. I always say to our clients, please lean on us if you need resources, so that you're not falling into a ton of traps that get you down the wrong hole and you're upset with the final product.
And both my sister and I have busy schedules. It was nice to lean on people this is the job they do, and they're the ones that can go out and look for, different accent lighting, or suggest different furniture, suggest different granite tops or different tops anywhere and everywhere, or even to suggest the idea of this doorway from this room to this room is great, but why don't we expand things
Right.
and make things bigger, better for you, which helped a lot. And those ideas came from everyone, from the carpenters to the electrician to the designers, all these great people that are in the Sarah Logue book.
What were some of the biggest hurdles you and Karen faced when you were starting and or finishing this project?
The biggest hurdle is probably just the time. You have to get used to the idea that, okay, your life is going to be upended a little bit for anywhere from a few weeks to maybe a few months. And if you open yourself up to that idea and accept that idea pretty quickly, things will actually go a lot smoother than you expect. Also accept the idea that it's not going to be without its issues as you go. Right. When you start to tear down walls or start to open up spaces, you're going to run into some things that maybe weren't anticipated. Yeah. Like we had to redesign a bit of a structural wall. We didn't redesign it. Right. The guy, our contractor who did a phenomenal job, found issues as far as structural and weight-bearing places would come up, or where some of the ductwork was that had to be moved, or some of the plumbing had to be moved around. And that's like, okay, well, that's going to delay this or delay that, or it's not insurmountable problems. Right. But it's not going to be this smooth thing all the way through. Just, accept those ideas and be ready to see every problem that comes up as an opportunity.
It's a good way to look at it, because I think so many people just want to check off knowing it's done. I try to remind people that it can only be a few months for what is a lifetime of enjoyment, right? So if you love your lot, you love your location, you love your community, this can be an alternate decision instead of moving, right? Moving's a lot of work. I'm not discouraging people from moving, but if you're going to reno your house, know that it might only be a 3-month hassle, right? If that's the way you look at it. For what could be a 30-year win, right? And it obviously is going to provide that equity back into your home as well.
Yeah, and you're going to have people, I think, that go into a project like this and they're like, okay, I want to quickly redesign a bunch of things, then I'm going to throw it on the market. But we wanted to find people that we could work with where we could redesign everything and, like I said, put our own personal touch on it. Right. And then we want to enjoy the house ourselves for a while before we reach out to someone.
No, stay. It's gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous.
And right now we've been, the house was, or the redesign was finished, I want to say within the last couple of years.
Yeah,
and
it's amazing.
We've been loving it ever since. So I don't think we're planning on going anywhere anytime soon.
Right.
But we are really loving it so far.
So just if anyone's looking at the old pictures, the big changes are kitchen was completely opened up.
Yes.
Huge island was added.
Yes.
All one universal floor throughout, right? Opened up to the dining room, so it's not a single doorway anymore.
Yeah.
All the woodwork was redone, smooth ceilings, all new light fixtures, and then you redesign essentially the living room, dining room to make a private office space, and you redesigned all those openings as well.
Yeah. There was major transitions that I've done, like the island is the big one in here.
Right.
The big job was obviously the floor. The color in the floor, I think, makes the house feel bigger, feel brighter. Right. The window that I touched on earlier was a big project, and then there was a wall between the front office and what is my sister's office now. Right. That was eliminated, and it just opened up everything up there. So it's
beautiful walk-through space.
It is.
The continuity in the house and the design details, like, I think you really have to spend a lot of time to understand the squareness of the handles matches the squareness of the woodwork, right? There's just so many complementary pieces, and I think your designer did an incredible job alongside you guys. You're both very creative, so well done. It's an incredible before and after. I congratulate you.
Well, thank you very much. We love it, and we love everything that you did to help us get it to where it is today.
No problem. Enjoy it.
Oh, we will.
For all the details on this reno and other projects that Team Logue follows, please check us out at teamlogue.ca.